Alright, ladies and gentlemen. I'm back on my bullshit about, this time, Dark Souls 1. For those curious, back on my bullshit is about me analyzing the Soul series story in respect to each other. So piecing together how the games could theoretically tie all together. Oh boy, here we go. I'm actually going to turn the brightness up just a bit. Flame is visible and the dragon is invisible. There, that should be good. Leave the controls as is. Alright. Let's get to it. Entering the character's name. This time, it's not the it's the creation of the child, beloved of moon and sky. Of mountain and sky. Iek Osh. Or no. As his name would be originally, he is blue. Didn't have one. We'll go with male. Wanderer, thief, bandit, hunter, sorcerer, pyromancer, cleric, deprived. He would end up being a knight. Gift. Master key. Divine holy water. Twin humanities. Master key should be fine. Yes, he would learn to pick locks and bypass things. Physique. A large upper body. Face. Go with just, we're not going to see it, we're going to wear a helmet most of the time anyway, so and Dragon Scholar, why not? Swept back, wild, color, oh man, I am sorry folks, I could not reach the mute button. My muscles froze up. I'm not going to worry too much about our appearance. And this time, just because in Dark Souls 1, you're going to end up wearing a helmet that is going to block it, so... yep, let's go on. And let's get into... We'll let the story play out, and then I'm going to talk about what links this to the game that came before it, Elden Ring, in my opinion.
In the age of ancients, the world was unformed, shrouded by fog. A land of grey crags, arch trees, and everlasting dragons. But then there was fire, and with fire came disparity. Heat and cold, life and death, and of course, light and dark. Then from the dark they came and found the souls of lords within the flame. Nito, the first of the dead. The Witch of Izalith and her daughters of Chaos. Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight, and his faithful knights. And the furtive pygmy, so easily forgotten. With the strength of lords, they challenged the dragons. Gwyn's mighty bolts peeled apart their stone skills. The witches weaved great firestorms. Nito unleashed a miasma of death and disease. And Seath the Scaleless betrayed his own, and the dragons were no more. Thus began the Age of Fire. But soon the flames will fade, and only dark will remain. Even now, there are only embers. And man sees not light, but only endless nights. And amongst the living are seen carriers of the accursed dark side. This land, the undead are corralled and led to the north. Where they are locked away to await the end of the world. This is your fate.
There's a lot to unpack from that opening. Let's begin and unpack how I believe it extends to this game. I believe that Elden Ring is the precursor to Dark Souls 1. Just point blank, that's what I believe. Now, let's take a look at what we're been told. In the beginning, their world was unformed, and the only things that existed were the arch trees and the everlasting dragons of it with eternal life. Well, that would line up with many of the wasting and broken kingdoms left behind after Elden Ring. And with the Elden Beast gone, well, it wouldn't be any surprise if the dragons rose to power and control. Then there's the fact of moving. Then they said found the souls of lords inside the in the flames, hidden in the bottom in the world, underground as it's depicted. So, what if those were a decayed form of remembrances? What if that's what they simply were? So if they were decayed forms, the power of the Soul of Lords is the remembrances of those. And who corralled or what corralled those remembrances was the souls, or those what resembled those humanities. Alright. Alright. Then in addition, we were told of those who did find the power of the souls of lords. They are, let's go down the list. There was Nito, first among the dead, Gwyn, Lord of Sunlight, the Witch of Izalith, and the furtive pygmy, who was so easily forgotten that they never mention it past that line. In fact, the furtive pygmy is all but forgotten, because their place is taken by Seath the Scaleless in when bringing up the war against the dragons. Thus began the Age of Fire. But things have started to fade for various reasons that we aren't told. So, it's worth noting, there's a lot more to unpack here. But first, we ourselves are undead. That is just who we are. Our face, our complexion tells us this completely. We are undead. We are one of many undead. And someone dropped a corpse into our room with a key on it. If we look at it, a mysterious knight, without saying a word, shoved a corpse down into the cell, and on its person was his key. Who is this knight, and what was his purpose? There may be no answers, but one must still forge ahead. In addition, the other things we have are the Black Separation Crystal, granted to banished undead. The crystal sends phantoms back to their homes, or sends you back to yours. Beware of fickle use of the item if you intend to nurture relations. More importantly, though, for story purposes, this is the item you start the game with. No matter what other equipment you have, you always start the game with this, the Dark Side. Signifies an accursed undead. Those branded with it are reborn after death, but will one day lose their mind and go hollow. Death triggers the Dark Side, which returns its bearer to the last bonfire rested at, but at the cost of all humanity and souls. It would beg the question, but we're not at a bonfire. Well, it will return you here. Makes you wonder why. Either way, let's use the key and head on out. Currently armed with some decent armor, because we picked the knight. And, well, a short sword. You can read messages to know that R1's to attack as ever. And now that stepping sound we've been hearing is this big beastie. But just patrolling. Though from the position of that corpse, we can imagine this thing is less than friendly. Nope. R2 gives you those much wider swings. But either way. Yeah. I like to, personally from my perspective, as far as connecting the games, I believe what we're looking at now is a degradation of what happened after the Elden Feast is slain. No matter what ending you get, it doesn't matter because this is what's built after the fact. I want to say hundreds of years later, people have managed to rebuild and rebuild life and create new life. They've used tools of the past, but much of it's been degraded and lost. And a question I always see when people, I never hear anyone ask when I played this originally. I always found it funny. I wouldn't ask people, why a bonfire? You know, we had those guiding graces that looked like little sprites, and now it's a sword embedded in bones. A more primitive way, honestly, compared to the elegance of the lost graces that we saw before. If I had to say, it's probably because it being made of bone, the bonfire having bones involved, might tie it more to the fact that our remanifestation after death is a physical thing. It involves bones and blood. Alright, let's move on. Big room. What? Get away! You cannot win! Yep. So, run over here. You literally can't win at this point. You don't have the weapon to do so. Or anything else to defend yourself with. By the way, yeah, we're fat rolling. Yeah. Actually, in that case, I'm going to take off the helmet for now. That should get us... That still feels like a slow roll, but that just may be me being too used to Elden Ring. Alright. Because this is, remember, this is Dark Souls 1, so this is a much slower game. Look, more deliberate. Now, we can block arrows. And it's a good 100% physical resist shield. Oh yeah. And now a decent weapon in our broadsword. So 4 times the attack power. Okay. That's better. Oh yeah. Oh man, it's gonna take a little while to get used to Dark Souls 1 controls again, compared to after playing Elden Ring for so long. Oh, this is gonna be fun to get back to. Alright. Hey, that looks like that knight who helped us. Have to find a way to him. Let's see, anything over here? Nope. An item we can't get to. And he somehow ended up in a room we can't touch. That's unfortunate. Well, open the shortcut at the very least. Yep. Hey, that was convenient. But you still tried to kill me, so... There we go. Yeah, we're still fat rolling, so screw it, put the helmet back on. Hello?
Oh, you. You're no hollow.
Nope.
Thank goodness. I'm done for, I'm afraid. I'll die soon, then lose my sanity. I wish to ask something of you. You and I were both undead. Hear me out, will you?
Sure. I mean, if we're undead, we have nothing but time. So, tell us what you want to tell us, friend.
Regrettably, I have failed in my mission. But perhaps you can keep the torch lit. There is an old saying in my family. Thou who art undead art chosen. In thine exodus from the undead asylum, maketh pilgrimage to the land of ancient lords. When thou ringeth the bell of awakening, the fate of the undead thou shalt know. Well, now you know. And I can die with hope in my heart. Oh, one more thing. Here, take this. An Estus flask. An undead favorite.
Something that should never leave
And this.
your inventory.
Now I must bid farewell. I would hate to harm you after death. So go now. And thank you.
Alright. Yeah, he's alright for the moment, but he gave us an Estus flask. As well as a key to the second floor. Key to the iron bars on the east side of the second floor of the North Undead Asylum. The Undead Asylum is a giant undead prison segmented by countless iron bars. Even if an undead were to escape from a cell, passage to the outside world would not be gained easily. So this was a place to put us with no expectation of us ever leaving. Oop. And that's the sound of death. That knight sincerely did not wish to harm us, so he made sure he would never be able to, by cutting his own throat. Alright. So yeah, you have both your jump attack and a kick. Kick's mostly for breaking guards. Jump attack is to hit even harder. Nice. Man, we're not doing too bad. Hey. Alright. And our swing is quicker than his. And that's still locked, so not much we can do. Now, last tip that's going to be really useful for you. While falling, if you press R1, you do a plunging attack. You'll want to know this, especially for coming in here. Because... there, that's about a third of his HP gone. Now we can... Yep. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep, so used to Elden Ring. Gotta get used to the slower, more methodical combat here. Oh. Okay. Alright. And we're fat rolling still, so... And drinking is slower, too. There we go. Nope, and the butt stomp. And once he drops, that's your easy chance to get some extra damage. Goodbye. Alright. So we got 2 key items there. First, humanity. Rare, tiny black sprite found on a corpse. Used to gain 1 humanity and restore a large amount of HP. This black sprite is called humanity, but little is known about its true nature. If the soul is the source of all life, then what distinguishes the humanity we hold in ourselves? What indeed? And the big pilgrim's key. Key to the inner door of the undead asylum's main hall, big key belonging to a chosen undead pilgrim. But this chosen undead knows not what this pilgrimage has in store. In other words, we're now the chosen pilgrim. So, here we are. What lays beyond? Remember how they said that gaining access to the outside world would not be simple? It's exactly what they said. This place wasn't intended for the undead to ever return from. Nothing but mountain crags in every direction, steep cliffs, and it's probably nigh on impossible for a human being to return without some form of assistance. And even if they managed to, they'd be alone. Most likely have broken most of their equipment and would be completely vulnerable to any forces that would be stationed inevitably facing this place. So then, what hope do we have as an undead? Well, let's try and get a good view of the place.
Only in the ancient legends it is stated that one day an undead shall be chosen. To leave the undead asylum in pilgrimage to the land of the ancient lords. Lordran.
A bit of an uninspired title, but it gets the points across. And if you'll remember, this is Lordran. This is, in the opening sequence, the city we saw so full of life and vibrant at one point. But in Lordran, you can level up and kindle at bonfires. You can rest, and there's also other people to talk to.
Well, what do we have here? You must be a new arrival. Let me guess. Fate of the undead, right? Well, you're not the first. But there's no salvation here. You'd have done better to rot in the undead asylum. But too late now. Well, since you're here, let me help you out. There are, actually, 2 bells of awakening. One's up above in the undead church. The other is far, far below, in the ruins at the base of Blight Town. Ring them both, and something happens. Brilliant, right? Not much to go on, but I have a feeling that won't stop you. So, off you go. It is why you came, isn't it? To this accursed land, the undead.
Indeed. We came here in hopes of something. More humanity. Hopes to find maybe a cure, maybe some alternative.
Ah, your face. You're practically hollow. But who knows? Going hollow could solve quite a bit.
Oh. Anything else?
What? Restoring your humanity? Well, there are a few ways to go about it. Collected bit by bit from corpses. Or you can butter up a cleric and get yourself summoned. And the quickest way, although I never do it, is to kill a healthy undead and pity. Coveting thy neighbor is only human, after all.
But luckily we have a bit. So, just to show it off, yeah, we'll use two. They do heal you, so they can be used as emergency healing. But you can reverse hollowing. Notice our face and we regain our humanity. Then we can also... Okay, no, it's already up. Okay. Can be used to kindle fires to give you more Estus Flask charges. So, in addition, we can also level up endurance. Yeah, the more stamina you have, you live and die by stamina in these games. More so, Elden Ring gave you enough stamina so you didn't need to pump it as enough. This is not true of these games. Now, much like Elden Ring though, this game gives you a lot of options from the front. There's actually several places you can go, and several ways you can be. It's really just down to what you want, or what you can feel, what you're capable of pulling off, basically. Because there's quite a bit. Fire bombs. We'll need those later. And up here, we find a gentleman, rather rotund one as well.
Hello there. I believe we are not acquainted. I am
Correct.
Petrus of Thurland. Have you business with us? If not, I'd prefer to keep a distance, if possible.
Oh, okay. At least he's polite about it.
Hello there. I realize, but I also want you to know that it is not meant in ill will.
Oh, okay.
Here. No, good.
A copper coin.
Oh my. Oh, I have to. So what if I would that?
Alright.
Very well. Now, only their ultimate.
So yeah, he becomes a shop and he's a priest, offering you various covenant. We can learn a gesture and stroke.
My companions are Milady and her young knights. She is young, but burdened by an undead mission. We are her defenses, to keep her from harm. Come again. The effectiveness of the teachings depend upon your faith.
So yeah, he's ultimately seemingly a relatively respectful and not offensive guy, at least. So at least, unlike the despondent one that's over by the bonfire, at least he's being cordial about it. Though the item he did grant us says a lot about his character. Copper coin of Old Man McLoif. Coin made of copper, its face shows Old Man McLoif, god of medicine and drink. Even the coins of great value in the world of men have little value in Lordred, where the accepted currency is souls. Those who dream of returning to the outside world are fond of carrying these around. So, it's clear Petrus still holds on to the dream of getting out of here. For good or ill, that's what his dream is. Okay. Let's see if I can make this jump. Alright. Because, if you can make that jump, you can come around here and drop down. Where, in a chest you can open cracked red-eye orbs, a talisman, and a morning star. and a homeward bone. As far as what we just found, Morningstar. Hammer with a sharp spike on its pommel. With a sharp spike on its pommel, one of the more barbaric cleric weapons. Uniquely, this hammer inflicts thrust damage and causes bleeding. So, it's made mostly by clerics. Medium for casting miracles of the gods. Standard talisman issued to common believers. Equip this talisman to cast miracles. Attune miracles at a bonfire, and miracles have a number of limited uses. So, and Lloyd's talisman. All very cleric-centric items. Talisman used by Allfather Lloyd's cleric knights to hunt down the undead. Blocks Estus recovery within a limited area. In the outside world, the undead are a cursed creature, and Lloyd's cleric knights are widely praised for their undead hunts. This blessed talisman blocks undead recovery, allowing the knights to fight with impunity. So they're able to fight them without having to worry about this recovery. Yeah, seems our sword isn't very effective against these skeleton warriors. Alright. Yep. So, let's run. Just enough to get some distance. There's an item here. Alright. And note. Resting at the bonfire resets. Resets enemies. Those skeletons seem to be... This doesn't work a little better. And here's a shrine where all the... Let's test this out. I mean, it's made to bleed things, and skeletons can't bleed, but... Well, that's better. And it seems more importantly, to disable the skeletons. Nice. Again. Yep. And we can see their scimitars do bleed damage. Yeah. But it's clear we're not going to be able to go this way. After all, we struggled this much with two skeletons, the basic enemies here. So, this way is no good. There's some items, but I'm sure there's more ambushes. So, by and large, this is not a way for us to go at this time. So, let's see, where else could we go? There's a path to the north. There's one more that you might have missed down here. Now, this is also the revelation down here of one of the dirty little secrets about those bonfires. She cannot speak. You need a firekeeper's soul to reinforce your Estus Flask. More importantly, the bonfires require keepers. In other words, someone to keep it active. Not everyone, as we've seen, not at every single one, but some of the more potent ones do apparently require a living host. Almost as if the act of keeping the fire is almost a sort of parasitic thing. And all the way down here, we find a city covered in water. Now, it's worth noting that the conversion of the accepted currency. In Elden Ring, it was runes. But runes seem to grow on anywhere that you could find. But the runes seem to grow anywhere you could find living things feeding off the golden energy. So it would make sense that some of these souls may retain that. Alright. But yeah, it's a city covered in water. Ominous. But there's a way out there and light, natural light coming in. Be wary of backstepping.
Well, this is unusual. You haven't lost your head. And more importantly, you're free. How on earth? Well, I shouldn't cry. I'm Ricky, the Vinite. I was once an established smith, that was. Look at me now. Can you believe it?
Well, life takes turns we all don't expect. But he's a smith.
What is it? Have you? Oh no. Don't worry. No intention of escape.
Oh.
It's safe here. Can't bear the thought of going hollow out there.
Ah.
Although, I must admit, there's not much to occupy myself. How about this? I could forge your weapons, albeit with rather minimal tools. I'll show you what may be the best in business.
So, he's allowed to modify our weapons, reinforce them, but we don't have any Titanite shards. We'll get into what the shards are versus what they are in Elden Ring later. Repair equipment if we need to, because our equipment does technically have durability. And trust me, this is going to be a thing. It's not that bad. Though he can also teach us spells. Heavy Soul Arrow and Soul Arrow with Catalyst. It's worth noting, though, take a look to the right of the requirements and you'll see uses. Yeah, Dark Souls 1, they're limited by the number of charges. So regardless of however you level up, a Heavy Soul Arrow will have 12 shots, and a regular Soul Arrow will have 30. That's it. There's a couple ways to extend it and do other tricks with it, but trust me, they come at high cost. And talking to him.
What is it? There's nothing to talk about. We're both cursed, undead. But what's there really to moan about? Goodbye then. Keep your head on up. You really have to break them for nothing.
Alright. So he's perfectly content to sit in his cell till he goes mad. Another soul that's been basically resigned to his fate, and is just waiting for the end to come. After all, what real hope is there for any of the undead? I mean, these are hollows that we're slashing at. I mean, really. What's there to look forward to? But it seems putting them out of their misery isn't doing much. And bear in mind, these guys are all so broken that they generally won't attack you. They're here for their own, they're here just losing their minds. Other chosen undead who didn't make the cut, so to speak. Transient curse. Temporary curse allows engagement with ghosts. Limb of a victim of a curse. Temporary curse allows engagement with ghosts. The only way to fight back against ghosts who are cursed beings is to become cursed oneself. The safe method, however, dreadful, is to cut off the arm of the dead. Yeah, there are ghosts everywhere here, and theoretically you could try and push your way through. I'll be perfectly honest and warn you now, this is not a way to go. At least not without a lot of frustration and a lot of luck. I mostly just wanted to show off that yes, you can access this area from the start, and if you need a good piercing weapon, an Ustock is not a bad choice. Because it does a little less damage. Oh no, we don't have the dex. Right. Yeah, 12 dex. So, we're pretty good for the moment. But yeah. Though, there is one other thing. Up here towards the back, there's a door. If you have the master key, you can open this. The Valley of Drays. Let me be perfectly honest. This is a shortcut, and a massive one. This is a way you can get to some very nice items. However, don't expect to get away with it scot-free. This place is much higher level than you are. I'm honestly coming here for one item. And I'm probably going to die in the attempt, and I'm fine with that. Alright. I'm hoping to get a decent weapon here for the beginning. Alright. Store straight sword. Got it. Couldn't get up in time. Alright. But we did get what I wanted. I'm going to consider those 300 souls a loss and just take it. The Astora Straight Sword. Alright. does some magic damage. Requires 14 faith. Okay. And we have 11. Okay. But we did pick up some souls, so let's see what we can do with those. Level-wise, I mean. Let's see. Okay. 13. Ish. Well, shouldn't have enough. That's 400. Okay. So when we can use it, yeah, it'll lose a lot of points, but it's still better than the basic broadswords. So just by virtue of, all right, by physical stats we're fine. It's just the magic damage isn't quite there yet. That, and note that it is a holy weapon. Yeah. Bleed, okay, the auxiliary effects are bleed, poison, holy, and dark. In this case, it's a holy weapon. So, it can hit pretty hard. Yeah. Big downside is because we don't have the stats, every attack will bounce off something until we're able to hit it normally. So, for now, we'll use the broadsword till we get just enough. Alright. Nice easy trap. Yeah, chucking firebombs at us. Yep, and of course, nice. And actually, I think that's enough to get that last level. So, I think I'll go take care of that first. Because being able to use the store's straight sword will make the early game a lot easier. No, it doesn't seem like much, but trust me, this is a Souls game. The easier you make your life, the easier you will have. There we go. So now, yep, 174. A nice big boost in attack power. So, let's go see about maybe putting the herd on some skeletons. Now they won't because it's not a blunt weapon, they won't crumble on every strike. But if we hit hard enough, wow. Yeah, we still are weak. So nope. By the way, that stance the ones on the right's doing is a counterattack stance. Alright. Yeah. Basically, that means that if you swing into him, he's going to do... Nice. Alright. He's going to counter your stance and be able to knock you down. and get some good damage in. Alright. Yep. Yep. Ow. Yep, you are much slower in this game, but yep. You're a little, but you get to play more methodical. So it's give and take. Plus, this is all mostly bonus stuff. I'm just picking up just because we can. Alright. Trust me, we'll get weapons for really cleaving through this area later. Because in truth, it's not necessary in the slightest to come up over here. Nor even to check down. The real way to go is the way we went. But again, this place, Lordran, hundreds of years after all the events of Elden Ring. The Elden Beast is nothing, a barely remembered thing. Life moved on. Ow. And you can see as an undead, we take a hit pretty well. And I think that's, though that's not intentional, it's a good narrative thing to note, is that undead are a lot more resistant than the tarnished. If anything, it... Alright. If anything, the undead might be considered an evolution of the tarnished. After all, they were started out as soldiers of the battle-frenzy-loving Oralu. Either way, though it's clear they were nowhere near as picky in making undead as they were when they were making tarnished. Tarnished were all accomplished warriors or mages or scholars and something of the like. It's clear being undead is not a very... The process is not very picky. Short sword. But we picked up the Astora sword, so we're pretty good for right now. And some people point out, well, it's kind of in a trap because, you know, its scaling doesn't go that great towards mid and late game. And I'm just like, meh. But by that point, you'll have picked up other weapons that will scale pretty well. Alright. Just making sure I ain't missing anything, because it has been a little while since I played Dark Souls 1 all the way through. So, there are things that are less clear in my memory, but... Yep. There are things that are less clear, but there are also plenty of memories of interesting instances of, again, that plunging attack. Would have loved for that. Would have loved for more of the special plunging attack animations from in Elden Ring, but we have what we have. And the white mist. A dragon. No, that's a drake. It has the wrong number of limbs. After all, the way to tell the difference this door opens, and if you had need of a shield, there's a wooden one. It's better than a broken one. Alright. And hey. Bonfire lit. Now, much like how I did Elden Ring, what's the story of the area we're in to you? The Undead Burg. Now, it's clear that this area is just what it sounds like. It was a town that fell apart. There we go. Like I said. Yeah. Yep. And just like us, the undead have Estus flasks. It's an undead. Hello.
Well now, you seem to have your wits about you, hmm? Then
Yep.
you are a welcome customer. I trade for souls. Everything's for sale.
Indeed. So, repair powder, throwing knives, Lloyd talisman, orange, soapstone, which allows you to write messages, so we definitely want that. One of the biggest items you want, though, the repair box. A tool for repairing armors and weapons and armors at a bonfire, so you don't have to keep running back to a... But bottomless box allows you to put items away, so yes, you have to pay for that in this one. Or a residence. Key to a residence in the Undead Burg. Simple, sturdy design of the locks in the burg keep out unwanted visitors. But this is a standard key in these parts and will open several residences. So it's kind of a master key.
Thank you kindly.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just a merchant. He looks like he's gone half mad, but hey. He's still sentient enough to do business, so... Yep. And ending the suffering. Alright. Nice. Yep. Took a few hits, but nothing too horrible. More throwing knives. Endlessly and eternally useful. And for this jumping puzzle, a reward is out back here. Something simple, but effectively useful. A light crossbow. But yeah. The Undead Burg's story seems to largely be one of acceptance that, or preparation, I guess you could say. They were expected to be attacked. Perhaps from the undead in the catacombs, perhaps something else. But even so, these undead are prepared to resist and fight to have their town protected. They tend to stand at various angles to get the advantage, and prefer not to engage in direct combat unless they have to. Alright. So, and we see that this bonfire doesn't require a keeper, but the one back at the Firelink Shrine did. I think we're going to call it here for now. Thank you all for joining me. I am Ben the Ephemeral One, and this is me back on my bullshit about the story of Dark Souls 1. Thank you all for joining me, and I'll see you next time on this, or maybe something